Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Molina.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we're going to be here till about 9 p.m. tonight. Today, we're going to talk about the 2017 Hall of Fame class has been announced, and we'll tell you who's on it. We'll break down the Bernard Hopkins final fight. We'll see if we'll also talk about if this is going to be his final fight or we think he's going to come back. Our train wreck of the week this week involves 2 of my favorite topics: Adrian Broner and sex tapes. But first, we're going to get started with Anthony Joshua versus Eric Molina, the IBF heavyweight title on the line here. Anthony Joshua demolished Eric Molina in 3 rounds on Saturday night in Manchester. Joshua dropped Molina in round 3 and then finished him shortly thereafter. The time was 2 minutes, 2 seconds, just like Chuck Woolery used to say. Let me tell you something. We all knew that Joshua was going to win this fight, but I don't think Joshua did anything overly special in this fight. You know, and I like Anthony Joshua a lot. I really do. I think he's like the next guy. But Eric Molina laid an egg in this fight. He looked like he didn't even want to be there. You could see it in his body language even before the fight started. It was an awful, awful performance. He just basically stood there and let Joshua hit him, offered up nothing in return. He was very passive, and it looked like he was waiting for Joshua to end the fight, man. It was just pitiful. It was just pathetic. I think someone, I tell you what, man, someone needs to talk to Eric Molina and get him out of there because he didn't want to be there. And I don't want to see Eric Molina again because he put up 0 effort in that fight. He made no effort to throw a punch. He made no effort to stop punches. He just sat along the ropes like a dummy and got pounded. And you know what? I'm sorry if I sound harsh, but that's the way it is. Eric Molina just laid an egg. And that's not to say that Anthony Joshua is not good. That's not to say, Anthony, if Molina came in a different light, came to fight, that the result would be any different. We didn't think it would be. I thought, I thought it was going to be under 6 rounds, no question. But the way he performed was just I didn't like it. Robbie, you saw the fight. What did you think of it?
I expected the same kind of effort that Eric Molina gave to Deontay Wilder. I expected him to do that kind of performance. Instead, it reminded me of Mike Tyson against Michael Spinks. Because Michael Spinks looked horrified in the ring when Mike Tyson stepped in the ring. And a lot of Mike Tyson opponents, and especially in his early days, they were all psyched out even before he got in the ring. That's exactly what this looks like. And the Sky TV announcers pointed that out last night. Thank you, Showtime, for not doing your own broadcast. I'd much rather hear the Sky Sports people. I wish you'd sign a long-term deal with them and let them do all your fights, because they're unbiased. They tell it like it is, and you don't hear any fake promotions. So, but even the Sky announcers, they pointed that out immediately. And Eric, you need to find something else to do, brother, because last night you just collected a paycheck. That's all you did. And I can't wait for the next thing, and I don't want to talk about it until Eric mentions it. But last night was just a sparring session for AJ.
It was awful. Awful. Beeb, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, let me ask you guys this. So obviously what you guys are saying was that wasn't the same Eric Molina that showed up for Deontay Wilder.
No, it was not.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, do you think that being in the UK, not being on U.S. soil, you think that kind of spooked him a little bit? Or,
Yeah.
you know, because Deontay Wilder at the time was just an imposing guy himself too, and he was a fearful heavyweight that everyone was afraid of with a lot of power. And Eric Molina just went in there, and, you know, he lasted 9 rounds, and he actually tagged Deontay Wilder with a few good shots. In this fight, he offered up nothing. He looked like he mentally checked out. You could see it in his face that, as you guys alluded to, he didn't want to be there. And shout out to the UK announcers, because that's how we do it in the UK, man. We know how to call a fight. As Robbie said, none of the hoopla, none of the BS. Call the fight the way it is, and if they see something, they point it out. They're totally unbiased in the UK, and that's why we love the UK. But getting back to the fight, I don't know, Anthony Joshua, though, he looked like, you know, he systematically just took Eric Molina apart, whereas Deontay Wilder looked a little sloppy. He looked like he was loading up with a lot of shots. You know, he was short with a lot of right hands that he threw. He wasn't really precise. He wasn't methodical. He wasn't really trying to put forth a cerebral type performance. It looked like he just wanted to swing for the fences. Whereas one thing you got to give Anthony Joshua credit for is, you know, he enters every fight, you know, with the mentality that it is a fight. It's going to be a challenge for me. So even though he was in there with Eric Molina, I still think he approached the fight like a professional, and he didn't, you know, look sloppy at all. And he didn't just try to walk through Eric Molina. He tried to create openings. He tried to work his way in, and he set up his shots, and he put his shots together very well. Whereas I noticed with Deontay Wilder, he's throwing one punch at a time. He was trying to, you know, throw that home run bomb to try to get Molina out with one shot, whereas Anthony Joshua really tried to break him down and do it the smart way. So you got to give Anthony Joshua credit for that. And unfortunately, you know, people are going to look at Eric Molina's body language in this fight. They're going to look at his eyes. They're going to look at the face, and they're going to just say, hey, he didn't want to be there. And, you know, that's going to take away from Anthony Joshua's performance. But that's not Anthony Joshua's fault. He showed up. You know, whether or not, you know, we believe that Eric Molina mentally showed up for this fight, Anthony Joshua still did what he had to do, and he didn't waste no time in doing it, so props to him. Now move on to Klitschko. Let's see this next big fight that's coming up, Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. Did this fight prepare him for that? Obviously not.
No.
But again, you know, who else could you really get into that's going to emulate Klitschko? Who's going to present that type of challenge that Klitschko presents, and who's going to bring that experience and, you know, that resume that Klitschko brings? It's you know, so he's just going to have to work in the gym, and he's going to have to do the best he can and train to the best of his ability. And I think that, you know, if Anthony Joshua does bring his A game to the Klitschko fight, I think he'll have, you know, a similar result. Maybe not in 3 rounds, but maybe 8 or 9 or 10 rounds. I think.
Well, and instead of 21,000, you'll be in front of 80,000, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think he gets Klitschko on there. I'm real high on Anthony Joshua. I like what I see from him. I think he's starting to really come into his own. I think he's tightening things up a little bit, and I just like the way he approaches the fight. He just goes in there, and he just is patient, and he doesn't take stupid chances, and he doesn't get sloppy, regardless of who he's in there with. He doesn't underestimate his opponent.
Yeah, I think Joshua wipes Klitschko. I mean, and like I said, man, I'm not bashing Anthony Joshua for this performance. This was completely Eric Molina's fault. Anthony Joshua has no control over what Eric Molina brings to the ring. He's been durable in the past, and I'm with you, Beeb. And like I said before, it's kind of like the jitters when you go to UK and you stand in front of that many people that hate your guts, you know, and they're cheering for the hometown guy. It's got to affect you. I don't care who you are. And it looked like the moment got the best of him, and he just completely folded up.
I know, when I first was embraced by the UK people, I had jitters when I used to go to UK. And then once I stepped off the plane, I was embraced like I was one of their own. And I just feel like a natural when I go to Manchester, get those sausage bangers and mash. I love that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Get the crumpets and all that.
Sure.
I just feel like a citizen already, man.
Do you have the spotted dick while you're there?
Of course.
It's a delicacy. That's what it says. Hey, I'm not making this up, man. This is a delicacy. I'm just saying. It's like a dessert or something like that. The Yorkshire puddings and everything like that, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something I didn't like about the broadcast. And I think someone's got to talk to Showtime about this. Showtime's producers. My DVR had 30 minutes on it by the time that fight started. By the time that Joshua fight went down, there was 30 minutes left, and I put the extension on it. And I said, there's no way. So thank you, Anthony Joshua, for saving me on this. But, I mean, what in the world? I mean, they've done this a couple of times now where they've gone long. Yeah. Look, coordinate this better. I mean, you know what they do over there. Why start it at 5? It's not going to start at 5. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. And they had so much filler.
They came on the air. They came on the air yesterday at 5:30, Eric, and the program's guide said it was going to be on until 7:00 Eastern time. The fight itself didn't start till almost 6:30. I mean, I can't understand that. That's I don't get it.
The big problem too is like the ring walks they have in the UK. Like for the main event fighter, it takes the main event fighter like a half hour to get into the ring with all the theatrics. I mean, it's kind of cool. I understand that.
I don't mind that at all.
You just gotta, you just gotta.
But Showtime,
I
mean, Showtime's got to do a better job. I mean, Showtime's got to do a better job of that, because especially, when somebody, if you can't see it, because it's in the afternoon, and I imagine a lot of people tape those in the afternoon. I know I do because I'm gone, I'm here and there, and it's like when I come back and I've got 30 minutes left and the fight just started, I'm like, it's only 10 rounds. That's less than 10 rounds,
I mean, well, that Eric, I wasn't joking a few minutes ago when I said, why don't Showtime sign a deal with Sky Sports where they can actually carry the entire broadcast and we don't have to hear from Paulie Malignaggi, Al Bernstein, Brian Kushner. Why don't we have complete access to the Sky broadcast and totally eliminate the Showtime guys altogether when they do fights like this?
Yeah, because they definitely weren't needed. I mean, I could listen to the Sky announcers all day. They were good. I like them guys. I like all the British announcers from Sky and Box Nation. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right. UK, baby. UK in the house,
All right, so we're going to jump around here. Just to let you guys know, there's a ton of fights this weekend. We're going to get to them all. Trust me, we're going to cover them all. But we're going to jump around here to the most important we'll cover all of them to the undercards. Also, too, if you're in the chat, if you guys are in the chat, do me a favor, and if you like what we're doing and we're entertaining for you, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Again, we don't ever ask for money here. We'll never ask you for a dime, man. All we ask for is a thumbs up. And if subscribe to beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com on his YouTube channel, or just go to iTunes and subscribe to Ringside Reporter podcast, man. That's where you get all our feeds, you get all our interviews, you get everything there. So definitely go ahead and do that for me, please. And so let's talk about the next one, man. The next marquee one was Terrence Crawford versus John Molina. This was another. I could have called it Eddie Hearn special, but he wasn't promoting it. In a complete mismatch, Terrence Crawford battered a game John Molina for an 8th round TKO. Molina came into this fight almost 4 pounds overweight. Not real sure what went wrong in camp, but he looked horrible at the weigh-in. He looked completely dried out. Crawford was campaigning for Fighter of the Year. Let me tell you something. If Hank Lundy and John Molina get him Fighter of the Year, something's very wrong here. It's time for Crawford to step up his competition.
And also Victor Postal.
Yeah, you know what? That was a good fight for him. I can't even say it wasn't, because he put on a good performance in the Postal fight. Everybody thought that Postal was a great fighter, and not to say he wasn't. I mean, he just dominated. I mean, it was just a bad style matchup for him, whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you what, I thought he did well against Postal. I thought that was a good fight. But Lundy and Molina, come on.
Yeah.
Man. Robert, what were your thoughts on Terrence Crawford?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, Eric. I like Bud Crawford as a fighter, but HBO, I don't like what HBO is doing, because they're trying to pump him up. Well, who can we put you against those so you don't make it look so easy? I mean, you have to blame Bob Arum for selecting his opponents. Bob Arum is one responsible for this. I mean, Bob Arum might have went to the Eddie Hearn School of the UK promotion. I don't know, but Bob Arum is the one that selected Hank Lundy. Bob Arum is the one that selected John Molina. And, Crawford saying, well, give me Pacquiao. Well, number one, if you're going to fight Manny Pacquiao, number one, he's going to make you go up to 147. And they mentioned to him last night in the interview, well, what about Earl Spence? And the first thing out of his mouth was, well, Earl Spence is 147, I'm 140. He made it sound like he wasn't going to go up for anybody.
So the
only way you're going to get Manny Pacquiao, the only way you're going to get Pacquiao is if you gain weight.
Yeah,
so
Pacquiao's at 147.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah, so what's the problem? Yeah, I mean, Spence is up there.
I don't get what he's getting at, and his personality is starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention,
because
what about and you
Go
talked
ahead,
about
Eric.
well, you talked about his he's not going to move up in weight, but he's been calling out Garcia for a long time now. He's been going back and forth. Garcia's at 147. He ain't coming back down. What about that?
No. I mean, if you're gonna stay at 140, Terrence, call out legitimate 140 pounders that you can actually get in the ring with. The problem I see, Eric, he is such a good fighter. He'd probably pretty much dominate everybody in the 140 pound division. I don't know of a 140 pound fighter that can give him a legitimate fight. Do you guys?
I don't know.
No, not really. Not really.
Yeah.
I would have said Troyanovsky for last week, but we saw how that went, man.
God.
Yeah,
he got pasted, son.
Yeah,
that wasn't good. So, Beeb, what did you think of Crawford's performance? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I honestly think if Terrence Crawford wants a big fight, he's going to have to go up to 147. Go ahead, Beeb. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all good. Again, I got to give him credit for that Victor Postal performance. That was an outstanding performance, and I was very high on Victor Postal. I thought Victor Postal was going to win the fight. And again, full credit for taking that fight, because that was looked upon as a 50-50 fight in a lot of people's minds, although it was far from it, judging by what we saw on the night. But other than that fight, there's just a lot. It's a very spotty resume. Very, very spotty resume. And when we give Crawford the eye test and we say to ourselves, this guy is really talented. This guy can fight. He looks phenomenal. He looks dynamic in there. But, why not, try to get some big names? Why not, try to even get a Broner? What's wrong with getting an Adrian Broner? Why couldn't they make that fight? Could they try to make that fight, I don't know. I mean, again, though, if you really think about it, he's a pretty decent-sized junior welterweight anyways. He's about 5'9". He may have to move up to get that big fight, because there's really no one else down here at this point. Besides Adrian Broner, what's a big money fight at 140 for him?
Broner's going to fight Ricky Burns after February. He's going to have this he's going to fight Granados in February. Then he's going to fight Ricky Burns after that. The WBA title is locked up for that time being. Terrence Crawford, Troyanovsky's now done. Julius Ndongo's got that title. And then you got Terrence Crawford. He's got 2 titles. I mean, there's nobody out there for him. And there's certainly no big money fights for him. The only big money fight for him is Broner. Broner's not fighting that guy. There ain't no way. He's going to have to move up. If he wants to get paid, he's going to have to move up.
Yeah, I have to move up. But, getting back to the fight, again, it was a very sharp performance. But I have to question the corner of John Molina, sending him out there round after round and watching him get pummeled like that. And then, with all due respect to Roy Jones, he was awful last night.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You're a fighter. Okay, yeah. But the corner's supposed to, save the fight for himself. Oh, well, that's not, they don't care. They're not supposed to care about it. Of course they're supposed to care about that. How could you make a statement like that? Oh, that they're not supposed to care about their fighter. That makes zero sense. And then when, Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley were critical of Roy Jones when he was saying those things, oh, you guys aren't fighters. Yeah, exactly. We're not fighters. So, a normal human being, when they see someone getting the bag beat out of them, bleeding from every part of their face, we want to see it stop. That's human nature. That's the human nature side of us. Let me just finish real quick, Robbie.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
That's the human nature side of us. A fighter, all that goes out the window when you're in the ring. So that's why the corner is supposed to save the fighter from himself, as I said. So yeah, we're not fighters, and that's why we're thinking as a compassionate human being, not wanting to see someone die in there, because people have died in there, and Molina had no chance of winning that fight, Roy, none. So to just sit there and send him out, and you co-sign that, and you're saying that's what's supposed to be done. Come on, Roy, man. Come on. That was horrible. That was horrible commentary last night.
Yep.
You know, we pick on Max Kellerman all the time because we think he promotes the home guy too much and whatnot. But last night, Roy Jones took on the Max Kellerman hat and played it to the hilt, and it was absolutely awful. And Roy, I know you're 47 years old, and I know you're continuing to fight, but my God, I think you've taken too many fucking shots in the head, because your commentary last night was the worst I've ever heard in boxing by a person who's actually been in the ring. Normally you make good commentary, you make good sense. Last night was your worst performance ever.
Well, I tell you what, I hope Roy Jones is.
Can I just say one other thing about?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
I was going to say one last thing about Roy Jones. How many times does he have to mention himself during the broadcast?
Oh my God!
This guy looks like me.
Wow.
What I was doing
Yeah,
that's how
right?
it's supposed to be done. You know, I'm the best. I'm the best to ever do it, man. That's how I did it back in the day. It's like, dude,
How did he say
it's
it?
not about you anymore. You're commentating. You're not promoting yourself. You're commentating.
How did did you hear him with the one line? He said something to the effect of, yeah, he impressed me because he does it like me. He doesn't do it as good as me, but you can tell he's been doing it like me for a long time. But, you know, he doesn't have my kind of talent.
That was during the Parker fight.
Yeah.
Joseph Parker doesn't do anything. Doesn't resemble Roy Jones at all.
he puts gloves on, so he's like me.
That's
you
like
know.
me saying that's like me saying when I go to an ice skate rink, I resemble Katarina Witt. I mean, come on. Makes no sense.
Exactly,
he
man.
goes skate, he trips over himself. I mean, that's how it is. I'm not going to sit there and try to make false freaking claims here. Come on.
We go hit the bag in the gym and we're like Roy Jones because we got gloves on, you know.
No, I swear to God, that was the worst performance I've ever heard him give. And I normally like Roy when he does his commentating, but last night was pathetic.
He was awful last night, son.
God, horrible.
Tell you what, he better hope his corner in February against Bobby Gunn has more empathy because he may need to stop. I don't know, man. We'll see. Because he's fighting the bare knuckle champion of the world, man. The guy's no joke. All right, so let's move ahead here, man. Jermall Charlo versus J. Rock Williams. Man, I tell you what, we've been waiting for this for a long time, man. I've been really excited about this fight. I was surprised about the way it went down, but I think, you know, man, when somebody lands a shot, when you got two guys like that can put you away, you know, with power and that can put you away like that, you get clipped. That's, you know, hey, that's a big disadvantage right there. IBF super welterweight champion Jermall Charlo scored a 5th round KO over Julian J. Rock Williams, Saturday night in LA. Charlo dropped Williams in the 2nd round with a jab. It was that shotgun type of jab, man. It was nothing but a shotgun jab, man. He came in and it was just you could see him just launch it, and it was a power shot, and caught him right in the face, right on the chin. Williams got back up to his feet, but he was wobbly. He was real wobbly. And I'm surprised he made it out of the round. But honestly, I mean, at the end of the round, he was landing some pretty good shots on Charlo. So it was, he came back pretty well. But Charlo found his range in the 5th. He caught Williams with a perfectly timed counter right uppercut, man. Williams threw his right hand. You could watch him. He brought up his hand to block it, came back with the uppercut, boom, right on the point of the chin. Williams went down, and the fight really should have been stopped there. I mean, it really should have been stopped there. He got up. The guy was stumbling.
Yeah.
Ref let it go for one more barrage. Williams went down again, and then he called it at 206. Look, man, maybe I'm too safety first, but I thought that fight should have been stopped after that second knockdown, man. After that second knockdown, or that knockdown in the 5th round, when he couldn't stand upright, why he let it go, I have no idea.
Yes.
So, B, what did you think of Charlo?
And, I was listening to an interview after, actually this morning, I should say, with Demetrius Andrade, and he made a brilliant observation. And then when I went back and watched the fight, he was 100% correct on this. If you notice, Julian Williams was landing his punches, particularly the right hand. Charlo was kind of rolling away from it, and he was catching Charlo on the way out. And the punches landed, but they didn't land with the full power, that they could have landed if he caught Charlo moving in. So Charlo was pretty good at just gauging the range a little bit and pulling away from the shot and rolling with the shot. That's why Charlo wasn't getting particularly hurt when Williams was landing those shots. But the thing is when Williams was being countered after he countered Charlo, he was extended. So he was basically very vulnerable because he's already extended after throwing his punch, leaning forward, and he really couldn't brace himself for the punch because he wasn't in position. He was in an offensive posture, not a defensive posture, number one. And number two, he was moving right into the punch. So everything Charlo landed, it was like he was catching the full brunt of it, where it was just the opposite. So that's why I think the big difference is because, when I was watching this fight real time, I'm sitting there saying, wow, Williams is landing some good shots. He's kind of out-boxing Charlo there. But then Charlo would just land one punch, and it would erase all of Williams' work. Because Williams just, as I said, he was really getting hurt with everything Charlo threw. Because Charlo was very patient in this fight.
Yeah.
He was very patient in this fight. And in his mind, again, I'm not crawling around in his brain, but in his mind, I got the sense that he was saying to himself, I'm going to get this guy sooner or later if I catch him clean. And that's what happened. He was just very calm. He didn't get unraveled. When he did get hit, he didn't get wild. He was composed, and he just waited it out. And he said, you know what? This guy's going to keep coming at me. Let him keep coming. Let him get comfortable. Let him think he can land that right hand. And I'm going to catch him overextended. I'm going to catch him out of position that one time, and I'm going to put the lights out. And that's what he did. I mean, I was shocked because I actually picked Williams to win this fight. I thought Williams was going to outbox him.
I did too.
I really did.
I did too.
Charlo did a phenomenal.
We all did.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job last night. Full credit to him. And he got a little bit crazy after the fight, a little disrespectful, whatever. Heated moment. I get it. But to his defense, Julian Williams was really, really going at him hard before this fight. He was, questioning his manhood, calling him a coward, saying he was running from him. And then, and that's the thing. Because when you engage in these Twitter beefs, people see all that. And then you have other people jumping into the fray. So a lot of people were jumping on Charlo because of what Williams was tweeting out. And, that just kept building up, the months and weeks prior to the fight. And Charlo was very upset about that. He was pissed. And that's why I think he blew up the way he blew up. Because, he can only take so much. And, I give him full credit because he apologized, said, you know what, I misbehaved, I overreacted in that situation. I let my my emotions get the better of me, and he apologized. So I give him credit for that. But I understand why he did what he did, and I commend him for apologizing right afterwards.
Let me tell you something. Charlo's a baby for the way he acted, and I don't care if he apologized or not. That was a complete dog apology. And, the fact that he refused to shake his hand, Williams went right over there to him, told him good fight. He jawed at him, and as one of his corner guys, I think, pushed him away or something like that. Guys, grow up. Grow up. If this is look, if you have that thin of a skin, maybe you should find another line of work. You're putting yourself out in the public, in the public eye. And so the guy's going to try to bait you. You took the bait. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? You took the bait. and you said, maybe you used it as motivation. Good for you. But when it's all over with and the guy comes to shake your hand and says, hey, you were the better guy tonight, and you push him away because you're still ticked off like a baby, and then afterwards, he's with Jim Gray and he's saying, oh, I'm sorry. No, you weren't. You could see in your body language you weren't. You could care less, get at it. And then he calls out Canelo after the fight. Really? Hey, Einstein, Canelo's moving forward. He's moving up to 160. Where are you going? Canelo doesn't even know your name right now, son. Get real, man. Get real. I like Charlo. I thought, maybe it was just an off night for him in the sense that maybe he let it, he had too much emotion, whatever the case may be. Doesn't take away from his performance. I thought his performance was brilliant. I thought it was a really good performance because I thought J-Rock was going to get him. But it was a really good performance by Charlo. But the way he conducted himself afterwards, it was completely unsportsmanlike. And he's got to start learning some sportsmanship. He needs to grow up. Robert, what did you think of Charlo afterwards?
Well, after the fight, his performance sucked. During the fight, I'm starting to think that this particular Charlo is a lot better than I thought he was, because I honestly thought J-Rock was going to go in there and win this with no problem. Because I think very highly of Julian Williams, and I thought this title was up for grabs. And now I've got to reassess what I think about Charlo as a fighter, because he thoroughly dominated Williams, and apparently he's having trouble making weight from what they told us on Showtime. And if that's the case, maybe he will move up to 160. But I don't know. There's something about both Charlo twins I don't really care for as fighters. And I just don't know how successful either one of these guys are going to be going forward.
Let me get you to expand on that. When you say you don't like them as fighters, is it their style you don't like? Is it there's something you think they're lacking, or is it their personality? What is it?
Well, I think it's a combination of all kinds of things. I've just never been really impressed with either one of the Charlos, and yet you've got to take this Charlo seriously, because now he's 25-0 with 19 knockouts. Maybe it is time to upgrade the level of competition, but who do you put him in against, and at what weight division? Because if he's having trouble. Go ahead, Eric.
You want me to give you a fight? All right. What about Charlo moving up?
Yeah.
What about Charlo moving up to 160 to fight Chris Eubank Jr.?
Hey, I'd be all for that if you send him over to the UK. Make him have to travel.
Well, what's wrong with Demetrius Andrade versus Charlo? That's an outstanding fight.
Because I think Demetrius Andrade wipes him. I do, man. I think Andrade wipes him. I think that's a good fight, though. I think I tell you what, I'd buy a ticket for that fight. It's an awesome fight. I want to see Andrade again, man. Andrade to me is must-see TV. I love Andrade. He's got the personality. Yeah. He's got everything, man.
He's an awesome fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Canelo won't touch that kid with a 10-foot pole.
No.
Canelo won't touch that kid with a 10-foot pole.
Canelo, and we'll talk. We'll talk about who they want in Mexico for Canelo next. But yeah, Canelo's not going near either one of these guys. And Charlo, let me tell you what. Go ahead. Let me just say one thing about the Charlo's personality, because I kind of get where you're going with that, and I kind of get where Robbie's going with that. But you know what? Okay, Beeb is having some technical difficulties. Can't hear him, so we're going to go ahead and move on here. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Charlo. Again, he called out Canelo afterwards. Robert, do you think that fight takes place at all? Charlo and Canelo? Robert. Yep. Well, we're having real technical. Let's see here. All right. Can anybody hear me? All right. If you guys can hear me, we are having some technical difficulties. Go figure. And what we're going to try to do here is try to get reconnected with everyone. So if you're with us, please stay with us. Beeb, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay.
All right, we're on live. Apparently, we got disconnected from Blog Talk. I'm going to disconnect from Blog Talk because I know Robert got disconnected and everything like that. So it looks like Blog Talk is going to go by.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I think we're having technical difficulties because they're saying they can't hear us in the YouTube. We got disconnected from Blog Talk, so I have to turn the mics on and stuff. We're gonna have to just do this YouTube.
Yeah, can they hear us? Can they hear us through the YouTube?
I think we're having technical difficulties because they're saying they can't hear us in YouTube. I know, but I guess talk. So Eric's saying that they can't hear us. Hold on for 1 second. The mic's on and stuff. Just do this with me. I'm gonna configure this.
Yeah, can they hear us? Can they hear us through the YouTube?
They're saying they can't hear us. I know. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there's a you have to
in the YouTube.
You have to mute something.
Okay, so they can hear me. Can you hear Robbie? Go ahead and say something. See if they can hear you.
All right, hang on 1 second here. Let me try something here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, are you on?
Yeah, there's a Robert.
Yeah,
are
we
you
can't
on?
hear Eric.
Robert,
All right, so we'll just have to continue with this then, I guess.
Yeah, Robert's off. Yeah.
Eric is off.
All right, let me see. Let me
I won't be able to run the switchboard, but I could definitely carry on with the show.
Okay, hang
so the next fight on that card was Abner Mares versus Cuellar versus Jesus Cuellar, which was a great fight. What did you think of this fight, Robbie? Because this was kind of
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
To be, I think I thought he was kind of
on the downside. So yeah,
I gotta tell you, I called this one way wrong. I thought Cuellar was going to dominate Morris. I thought because of the New York State Athletic Commission in June denying Morris a license to fight. Because remember, this fight was supposed to be on the undercard.
Okay, guys. Hey, excuse me. Hey, let me jump in here, guys. Can I jump in here? Okay. It seems to me we're connected back to Blog Talk. So, Beeb, if you could mute your microphone, and because right now I'm getting an echo or whatever, and just stay on Blog Talk, we should be okay.
All right. So we had some technical. Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties.
And did I mention that I hate Blog Talk?
Let me know when to continue.
All right. Beeb, will you say something to me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Eric. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I still got an echo on your end, though.
All right, let me just shut this.
All right, here we go. How are we doing now?
Awesome. And guys, we apologize about the technical difficulties. We're going to move forward. Beeb, you had a fight. You were going on with the Cuellar fight. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this was something that was a surprise to me because I thought Cuellar was going to basically have his way with Mares, particularly on the inside. I thought that Cuellar's physical strength and his strong inside fighting was going to give Mares a ton of trouble. And I thought he was going to really outwork Mares on the inside and wear him down later in the fight. But Mares, really fought well. And this is the thing about Mares, because we've seen him box, we've seen him slug, we've seen him fight from the outside, we've seen him, slug it out on the inside. a lot of times he'll fight, he'll make a decision in the fight. I'm going to box. I'm going to fight. I'm going to stick and move. I'm going to fight this guy on the outside. And he pretty much stays with that game plan the whole fight. And, we've seen him in other fights, like when he fought Vic Darchinyan. He tried to get up close to Darchinyan, and he slugged it out with Darchinyan. The same thing with Joseph Ikbeko, fought one way. And sometimes when things aren't going his way, he doesn't really change it up. I thought in this fight, he boxed well from the outside, and I thought he fought well on the inside when he had to. So he showed us a lot of versatility in this fight, where sometimes he gets kind of headstrong, and he decides, you know what, this is the game plan I put forth for this fight. Even if it doesn't work, I'm still going to keep trying it until it does work. I'm going to make it work. Well, in this fight, what I thought he did very well here was he adapted. When Cuellar did get inside, he fought him. He fought him well on the inside, and then he would slide out of the pocket, and then he would fight from the outside. So basically, he controlled the tempo of this fight. He fought it on his terms, and he showed us so many different looks in this fight instead of being hard-headed and trying to just hammer home that one game plan. In this fight, I think he had a couple game plans, and that was the big difference here because he was able to switch things up on Cuellar and constantly change the look for Cuellar. And that's what I think kind of troubled Cuellar in this fight because he was expecting a certain Abner Mares. Well, he got a couple of different Abner Mareses in this fight, and I thought that was a big problem for him, and he never was able to adapt, whereas Mares was. So that was the big difference here. I thought Mares put on an outstanding performance.
Let me ask you, were you guys surprised at Mares' performance? He was off like 16 months or something, right? I mean, that was what I kept reading. That was the big
correct.
Deal. Were you surprised that he was able to come out and do this?
Yes.
Okay, feel free to expand on that.
Like I started to tell Beeb before you came back on, I completely had this fight completely wrong. I thought Cuellar was going to come in and dominate him because remember, the New York State Athletic Commission denied him a boxing license in June because he failed the medical exam because of his detached retina surgery that he had. New York didn't allow him to fight because he was supposed to be on the undercard of the Porter Thurman fight on CBS. So I thought Cuellar was fighting somebody that had damaged goods here, and I thought he was going to dominate him. And it completely, I didn't expect this kind of fight at all. And it looks like Abner Mares has finally found the trainer that he needs to be with because he constantly switches trainers. Well, it looks like Robert Garcia is going to be the perfect trainer for him, and maybe he doesn't have to constantly switch trainers anymore. I think what he did last night is he totally revived his entire boxing career.
Yeah, it was his first fight with Garcia, yeah?
That's correct.
How crazy is that, man? I mean, seriously, that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. He looked good, man. He looked really good. 323-870-3857 if you want to chime in. Now let's talk about this next fight, man. Let's move ahead here. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Dominic Britch, the formidable Dominic Britch. Chavez made his return to the ring this weekend and won a unanimous decision over Dominic Britch. He used his money punch, the left hook to the liver, and dropped the right hands on him to overmatched Dominic Britch throughout the fight. Final scores on this were 99-91 on all three scorecards. Unanimous decision for Chavez. It went about like we thought. I mean, we talked to, if you guys didn't catch the interview, go to Beating the Odds with Beeb or go to download Ringside Reporter podcast, go subscribe to it, and you can get this interview. We talked to Andres Bermudez from beIN Sports on Friday. He's the boxing analyst for beIN Sports on Friday about this fight. He said that he was at the weigh-in. He told us Chavez looked very good and very strong. And the one thing that I missed in the interview, and Chakal from Tijuana told me that Angel Heredia was in the Chavez camp doing strength and conditioning, and there was also no VADA testing for this fight. And I thought that was pretty interesting, man. Because Chavez made weight. He was 167.7 or something like that, and the weight, of course, was 168. So he came in. It was actually 169 because there's a pound leeway there on non-title fights. And so he made the weight pretty easy, and he looked very strong. He looked very strong in the fight. Although he couldn't put Britch away, he looked very strong. But I just thought that was it. Anytime you hear Heredia in camp, you know, you just kind of like, I don't know, man. It's just
normally not a good thing.
It just follows you. I mean, that reputation just follows you. And whether he's doing right things or wrong things, you know, he's just been associated too many times with the steroid incidents and the performance enhancing and that kind of thing. Watching Dominic Britch prior to this fight, I've watched a few fights of him, and he likes fighting. He likes fighting going backwards. He throws kind of he's slow to get back in position after the jab. And I just thought for sure that he was just tailor-made for Chavez Jr., and sure enough, he was. Robert, Chavez Jr. is your boy. You like him. He's one of your favorite fighters. Where does he go next?
No. Eric, number one, no, he's not. I can't take him seriously because he doesn't take his boxing career seriously. Until he actually wins several fights in a row and always comes in shape without Heredia and takes his career seriously and actually starts earning the right to fight meaningful opponents. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't take the dude seriously. He's not Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. He's Junior, and he's Junior for a reason because he doesn't take his living seriously.
Andres Bermudez, during the interview, said something very, very interesting. He said that if Chavez wins this fight, that the biggest fight to be made in Mexico, and Beeb, I want your opinion on this, would be Chavez Jr. versus Canelo. And they are talking a catch weight of 164. Beeb, does that fight go off?
Wow.
It's a huge fight in Mexico, no question.
It's 50-50. It's 50-50. It's a 50-50 fight. Not 50-50 fight, you know,
right.
Competitive-wise. I think it's a 50 fight that'll come off.
Right.
I just don't see the upside for Canelo because this guy can get paid fighting anybody. What does this fight do for Canelo? Unless he gets paid a gigantic amount of money, which he's got a big fat contract as it is. You know, there's a lot of other big fights out there for him. I think if he fights Billy Joe Saunders, I think they could make that a real big money fight. You know, I really think they could.
That title he had, so yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see what this does for his career because not a lot of people take Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. seriously anymore. You know, they just don't because of his problems making weight, because of the way he's approached the sport, his questionable dedication, just a lot of the outside antics. You know, basically the DWIs, you know, smoking pot all the time and.
Right.
You know, training in his living room in his underwear, eating Cheerios. I mean, Fruit Loops or whatever the hell it was. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't see the upside. Again, they would have to dump a boatload of money on Canelo's lap to make this fight interesting. So I don't know. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. It all depends on you know what Oscar De La Hoya thinks, what Canelo thinks, and how much money is going to be on the table for this fight. I don't even think in Mexico they really think that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is really a serious fighter. They don't think he's anything like his father. So I don't know. I don't see it being a huge fight, in my opinion.
I don't think it's a huge fight stateside. I think it's a huge fight in Mexico, though. Now, he said, Andre said that the biggest fight, you know, of course, is the one everybody's waiting for is going to be Chavez versus Triple G, not Chavez, for Canelo versus Triple G. That's the big one everybody's waiting for. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what happens, man. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me to see him fight Junior in Mexico and then fight Triple G in September. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't think Julio deserves that kind of payday.
Oh, what's the matter with you? How dare you? And he's got the nicest things. He's got the nicest things to say about you. Unreal.
I mean, you can't take away the guy's right to make a living, Robbie. Come on.
Yeah, what's the matter with you? Come on.
What's wrong,
He's just piling on him. What are you doing? All right, let's talk about
Well,
Andy.
You're not going to be happy till you see him in a halfway house.
What's the matter with you? Yeah, right?
Well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I got my opinion on Chavez Jr., and I don't think he takes this seriously. He's got to prove it to me.
Oh, wow. Just piling on him. Just piling on him. Guy had a good win yesterday, and you just pile on him. Not good enough. It's terrible. Terrible. Speaking of not good enough, let's talk about Andy Ruiz versus Joseph Parker. Ruiz claimed that he was in great shape when he stepped on the scale at the weigh-in. He weighed 255 pounds. 255. He came into training camp at, get this, 290 pounds. 290. All right.
Wow.
Seriously. Come on, man. I mean, if you're going to take this seriously, man, if you're not going to take it seriously, go find another line of work, man. Because I believe that he just cost himself the world title. I thought Andy Ruiz fought a good fight here, man, but I thought he gassed down the stretch and allowed Parker to take it from him. It was clear that from the start, man, Ruiz was the better boxer early on. Landing combination, doing more damage, I thought, but he just stopped throwing punches later, and I think it cost him the decision, man. I thought he was a better boxer than Joseph Parker. I really did, but he just didn't finish a fight. Robert, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I've got one question. Why would Abel Sanchez get involved with a guy that weighed 290 pounds? And I applaud him for making him drop all the way down to 255. But why would an experienced trainer who trains one of the best fighters in the world, Triple G, get involved with a guy like this? He's another one that Andy Ruiz has never really taken his career seriously. And he basically got handed this title shot on a silver platter. And he honestly, in my opinion, didn't deserve to be there. I agree with you, Eric. I thought Andy fought a good fight, and he gassed out. I thought he had a chance to win, but I wonder why an experienced trainer like Abel Sanchez would take a guy like this on when he's so out of shape. And what kind of boxing career can this guy have? And I wonder, they said he came in with a record of 29-0. How many of those are big names? Were they 29 gifts? Parker did what he had to do to pull it out, but I really wasn't impressed with Joseph Parker either. I think going forward, I think Parker is going to be easy pickings for anybody that wants to take that title. I thought Ruiz should have won this fight, and he let the scales get in the way of his performance.
You got to think.
Maybe he has a thyroid problem. We should give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying?
It was sponsored by Burger King.
I don't know.
The promotion was sponsored by Burger King.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you know what? With that being said, though, Andrew Ruiz can fight. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he's got quick hands for his size. I think he's just a very skillful fighter. But again, he just fades down the stretch, and you have to say that has something to do with the weight. There's just no way someone who's what's he, like 6 feet? He's about 6 feet tall, right?
Something like that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
And he weighs 255. I mean, unless you're a bodybuilder, then you shouldn't be 6 feet weighing 255. I mean, 6 foot boxers don't weigh 255 pounds. I mean, I'm 6 feet. I'm 6 feet and I weigh 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't understand, the mentality of him thinking that he's going to fight a 12-round fight against top-level opposition and come into the ring at 255. It just doesn't make sense.
No.
But with that being said, Joseph Parker is a good fighter offensively. I've always said this, but defensively, I think there's a lot of holes in his game. Roy Jones was trying to say that he fights like him. I don't think he fights anything like Roy Jones. He does keep the front hand, his left hand low, and a lot of fighters do that. But the thing is they'll keep their right hand, their back hand up around their face and chin area, basically to suck the guy in, keep the left hand low, keep this hand here, catch and shoot, basically. Whereas the problem with Joseph Parker is he doesn't bend his knees, he stands straight up, and he keeps that backhand down around his chest area. And he puts his head straight in the air, doesn't move his head, doesn't bend his knees, doesn't tuck his chin. So as great as he is offensively, he just has too many holes defensively, and that's going to be a big problem for him if he fights a puncher like Deontay Wilder, or if he fights a puncher like Anthony Joshua, where the margin for error is so small. You have to have a tight defense against those guys, and I just don't think Joseph Parker does. So that's going to be a big issue for him moving forward. And Anthony, Andrew Ruiz is just not a big puncher, number one, and number two, he doesn't really put forth a high punch output to be a dangerous fighter to Joseph Parker. So with that being said, this was just a great opportunity for Joseph Parker, but it doesn't really tell us much of what he's going to do if he steps in there with the upper echelon of heavyweights, like, as I mentioned, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, even Luis Ortiz. That would be a very dangerous fight for him as well.
Parker loses all three of those.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this next fight, man. And I got to take umbrage with everybody in the chat last week who said this fight was going to be a yawner. Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora. They said the fight was going to be awful in the chat last week. I said, I think it's going to be pretty good. I was right. It was a good fight, man. Good back and forth, and some were actually calling it the fight of the year. These two guys went at each other, and there was a lot of hatred here. And if you don't know why, let me take you a couple days back at their press conference. All right, this is a fight they didn't even know would come off after the press conference. They were sitting there. Chisora and Dillian Whyte were sitting there. They were a little back and forth, Then Derek Chisora, for whatever reason, thought it would be a good idea to just throw a table at Dillian Whyte. Picked up the table and threw it toward Dillian Whyte. You heard me right. He threw a table. Who does that? Who throws a table at somebody? This is just a long list of antics by Derek Chisora. He was the one that spit at Klitschko the one time when they fought during the Gloves Are Off, the segment that they do in the UK, when they sit him down. He threw a glass at Dillian Whyte. It's just they threw water on him, threw the glass at him, and it's why they continue to have this guy fight is beyond me. But it was a good fight, man. The guys traded big shots, but in the end, Dillian Whyte won a razor-close split decision. 115-114 for Chisora, 115-113 for Whyte, and 115-114 for Whyte. That is as close as you get. B, what did you think of this fight? Did you think that it was a good fight? Was it fight of the year? And did you think the right guy won?
I did think Dillian Whyte edged it. I thought he started pretty strongly. I thought Chisora, to his credit, he's a guy who's been criticized in the past for not really putting forth a strong effort, not putting forth a high punch output, keeping his hands in his pockets, so to speak, when he's in there, doesn't throw a ton of punches, and kind of gets lazy on the inside. In this fight, he was constantly moving his hands. He was trying. I thought that he did some good work inside. And I thought Dillian Whyte did some good work inside as well. But I think the big difference in this fight was when there was distance between the two guys, Dillian Whyte was the sharper of the two. I thought his punches were a lot more sharper from a distance. I thought his jab was a great jab. I thought he really set his punches up. But there were times when Dillian Whyte was getting a little tired. He would take a breather. And that's when Chisora would come on and he would get into his chest. And he would work very, very diligently on the inside. He put forth a really workmanlike effort in this fight, which has been uncharacteristic of him in recent years. We've seen him, like I said, put forth some really, really weak efforts in fights where it just didn't look like he was doing enough. He was doing very, very little, particularly in the Tyson Fury fight. When Tyson Fury stopped him, he just wasn't moving his hands. In this fight, I think he was motivated. I think he really, really wanted to win. And he really, really put forth an awesome effort. And both guys, I thought, put forth a great effort. And this was a great fight. I wouldn't say it's fight of the year, but it was definitely a very good fight. But I do think Dillian Whyte did pull away towards the end. I thought he won the championship rounds. And I think that was the difference in this fight. I think he finished strong. And I think Chisora did very well in the middle rounds. But with that being said, I don't think anyone really dominated this fight. I don't think anyone really dominated the rounds, per se. The rounds that were won, they were all competitive rounds. But you know what? I just still think the right man won. But let me mention one thing, too, about the whole incident with the table. Because Eddie Hearn was basically trying to blame Dillian Whyte for that incident, saying, oh, well, you don't threaten a man's life. You don't say the things to Derek Chisora that Dillian White said to Derek Chisora. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? This is boxing. This is the shit-talking business. This is what fighters do before a fight. So every time I say I'm going to kill somebody, are you really supposed to believe that I'm going to go out and just take a gun and shoot you or stab you? I mean, so what? So what? He said things to you. And are you really going to sit there and say that you felt your life was threatened? Was this the first person that ever talked shit to you? That you were really, you let the guy get in your head. You showed mental weakness in this fight. Eddie Hearn was sitting there trying to say, oh, well, Dillian White shouldn't have threatened his life. Derek Chisora really believed him. Well, if he really believed him, he's a fucking idiot. I mean, if these guys are getting ready to fight, of course they're going to talk shit. If I sit there and say, oh, I'm going to kick your ass, I'm going to end you right now, that's just the freaking bravado talking, man. Does that mean you have to go call the police or get a life insurance policy because I said those things to you? I mean, stop. Fucking ridiculous. The whole shenanigans that were going on before this fight, trying to blame Dillian White for this. This was all Derek Chisora's fault. He showed mental weakness. He showed a lack of composure at that press conference.
He's got a track record.
I don't like. Does that mean I could pick up a table and throw it at them?
Right.
If I'm in a supermarket and the guy at the register says something to me, it gives me a dirty look. What do I do? Do I pick up my box of Cheerios and shove it up his ass? No. I mean, come on. This is the real world here. Jesus Christ.
I don't know why they continue. I mean, to me, and Derek Chisora got put on probation, a 2-year probation. So if he does anything stupid, then he's going to be suspended for 2 years. I'll tell you what, man, and I feel for him because, I feel for the position Eddie Hearn was in because of the, look, I mean, Chisora doesn't fight. That fight's off. That's a big fight on the card, and I understand it, but there's no way Chisora should have fought. He's clearly in no mental state to fight, and I know he made it a good fight and everything turned out okay, but I mean, he's not in a mental state. He's got a track record for doing dumb stuff, so I don't know, man. I hopefully he can get it together. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go to the phones here. 508, you're on.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, Georgie?
Same more another day. I'm glad that the boxing guys give on all this boxing, because I mean, so many fights. I haven't even seen all of them, to be quite honest. I would like to see that Chavez fight to see how he looked. But I got to jump with Robbie. I don't think this man deserves no fucking title shot to face Triple G. That's ridiculous. And I also got a question for Beeb. Beeb, if you take out the table throwing fact, is not the same behavior that Charlo did on a sporting conduct?
I'll tell you the difference, because Charlo refused to shake somebody's hand. He didn't pick something up and throw it at him. That's a difference.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what he's saying, though, yeah.
Take that out of the equation. It's the same behavior. The only factor is they're throwing the table up.
Yeah.
And that could be even part of the show on hands and everybody be, on board with it to sell the fight. So you really don't know what to believe. I mean, another question that I want to ask you, Beeb, is about scoring fights.
Oh, here we go again.
It's a fair question, my brother. Fair question.
Go ahead.
Let's say somebody landed 20 punches.
Yes.
Jab, right hand, hooks, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yes.
And the other person landed only 2 shots. But on those 2 shots, he hurt the guy and almost dropped him. They didn't drop him, but hurt him bad. Who won the round?
The guy who hit him with 33 punches.
Question. I would say the guy that hit him with 33 punches. Unless that guy went down or that guy was out on his feet with those 2 punches, then the guy that threw 33 would win.
Yeah.
But we've seen in the history of boxing, like the so-called, like people say, he stole the last 30 seconds of the fight.
I think that's nonsense.
We've seen this behavior.
Yeah, I do.
That's how he goes. It's the same. Go ahead.
That's the Harold Letterman school of boxing. You'll see a guy will outbox a guy the whole round, And then he'll land then his opponent will land a big shot at the end of the round, and Harold let him in. Oh, that punch gave him the round. Get the fuck out of it. That's the Harold. That's the Harold in school of boxing.
I'm not saying that he's wrong or not. That's what I'm asking. But it happened. He's been through the history of boxing thing I can remember. And we are about the same age. You know?
Yeah. But I'm free. But go ahead.
But this thing happens. So, like, when I don't know if Eric said it, but I heard you and Robbie say that you guys don't score even rounds.
I don't score even rounds.
I don't score even rounds.
But they are even round being scored in boxing.
I don't like it. I'll tell you what, I don't like it.
There's no rule against it. I don't like it. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't like it. It is, but you know what? Honestly, I don't think we see too many even rounds. When we look at the scorecards after the fight, I don't
think we do either.
I think like on press row and stuff, you may see them. I don't ever give anybody even rounds. Either you won the round or you didn't win the round. Very few.
You know where you see it a lot? You know where you see it a lot? In the UK. They do score a lot of even rounds in the UK.
Do they really?
In America, they don't score a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look at the Chisora fight. Look at the Chisora fight. There was even some of the judges had to score even rounds in that fight. Did you see the scoring?
I did not.
115 to 114 or something like that.
I saw the fight, and most people that I see on the internet, you know, in the chats and whatnot, got Chisora on top, winning the fight. A close fight.
Yeah, close fight.
Winning the fight.
Can't argue.
So if we know that this round can be scored even, that is part of boxing, that we got this mythological fucking 30 seconds story round shit. What we really got as a guy to score a fucking round, people? If we don't have a consensus of how to score a round and everybody gonna score it the way they want to score it, this is lunacy.
But Georgie, this is the problem. It's not black and white. It's not simple. I think people try to oversimplify scoring a fight. I mean, that's why there's three judges. If it was so, like, if they just wanted to have one person's point of view, there'd only be one judge. But there's three judges. And very rarely do all of those three judges have the same exact scorecard. So you can score a fight, I can score a fight. And everyone is biased towards what they like. If you like counter punches, or if I like guys who are aggressive, or if I like boxers, or if you like punchers, everyone has a preconceived cognitive bias in their head. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. There are some fights.
Yeah, there is something wrong with it. Of course, there is something wrong with it.
I'll explain to you why, George.
They have to be boxing. Have to do a turnaround. And we have to have a consensus on how to score the round. Because this is just getting ridiculous. We have a generation of people believing one thing, other people don't believe in one thing. It's a mess, baby. It's just a mess. We see on the Cueva Matter fight, there was a judge that had fucking Cuevas winning. I think what was it, 115, 113 he had or some shit like that?
Yeah, I didn't agree with that.
I mean, so even these people in this position that dictate this man's career, these people, boxers, they get up early. Being a boxer is the hardest shit in the world. In the world. I don't give a fuck what profession you got. That's the hardest shit to do on the planet. And we don't got a guideline to make these people justice. It's ridiculous. Then you can fight with 300,000 trolls on the internet that don't know what they're talking about.
You know what might fix the issue? It may not fix the issue.
So, I mean,
let me jump in here. You know what might it might help the issue? May not fix the issue, but what might help the issue is if the judges had access to the monitors while they're watching the fight, not the instant replays.
Oh, I've always said that.
Because you know at the instant replays that could sway you too. Because you're watching it, and then they show you the highlight of the round where the guy hits him, and you can say, "Yeah, I remember." Okay, let's give him the round. No instant replays. Just show the fight from the TV angles, because you've got one angle being a judge, and you've got to sit there at one portion of the ring and look. The other guy's got the other one. You got three different portions, or three different positions. And I think that like if you were to give them monitors and give them that, it's like so when he's on across the side of the ring. And he doesn't have the best angle, he can look on the monitor and see what's going on. I think that may help.
You
That might be a big help.
You know what else they should do? I'm gonna do one further than that. They should have monitors, right? But I actually think they should watch the fight in the back somewhere in a room with the monitor, where the crowd's not there and they're just isolated from everything else.
Yep.
And they just watch the fight on television.
Yeah.
On a monitor inside of just a room.
There's no reason.
In the back.
There's no
Each
reason.
has their own room to watch the fight.
But you know what? But you know what? But you know what though?
Nothing.
With technical difficulties and stuff like that, if the monitor goes out or anything happens, what do? Then you got no fight.
Yeah.
So they've got to be positioned ringside. They have to be positioned ringside.
I'm with Beeb in the sense that it's not easy and it's not black and white.
Right.
But baby, there's things on boxing that don't make sense. We got a 10-point score system, most score system, right? Baby, we only score a point just to give the other guy a chance to come back in the later round. But you never see no fucking fight being scored like 6 points for a dude. You know what I'm saying? So what the fuck we got a 10-point score system then for? Make it a 2-point fucking score system. If this is how we're gonna fucking rule this shit, it's just getting to a point that a lot of people is frustrated. Another thing that I want to say about Charlo, this man got to be really careful. This man got to be really careful how he behaves.
Yep.
The Donald Trump effect has shown us that people ain't taking shit from nobody. And when they say they don't like it, they just don't like it. You could be the golden motherfucker, and we don't care. So, that is for the conduct that he showed. I know it's emotional because I'm an emotional person myself. Sometimes get the best of me, but he got a lot in the line. A lot. So, I just want to say that. And another thing I want to say about Mexico. Shout out to Mexico. Hardworking people. Love you. But we got to start supporting these people, bro. We're going to have people fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world, representing your country. And we're going to go enough put in effort, and we're going to back these people, and we're going to have Canelo doing his own fucking weight division. Baby, there is a point the nationality and Justin don't go hand in hand. They just don't. I know you got to root for your man, and I know you got to push your man, but it's a point, baby, that you're rooting for the wrong reason. You should not. You should not. So I just want to tell my Mexican people, think about that. Another thing, how many football players and cab drivers and people from the U.S. we got to send to the U.K. to get beat by Joshua? I'm done with it. I don't want to see that no more.
He's got to step up.
I don't want to see that no more, bro.
Yeah, but he will. He's going to fight Klitschko next. You know who I think has got to step up from the UK, and that's Dylan White. He just won this fight. He won against Chisora, where you think he did or he didn't. Judges say he did, so he won. Now it's time to step your competition up. Now you're going to have to fight. I want to see you fight an American. I want to see you come over here and fight, because that's the only way you're going to get it. You've got nothing else going on in the UK. You're not going to beat Anthony Joshua. You're not getting a shot at Anthony Joshua anytime soon. Now it's time for you to step foot over here. That's my thought on that. So, you can only be protected over there for so long.
Well, I mean, the man being protected in a sense, you can say that. But when Martin was fighting here, he was the champion. Everybody giving the recognition as a champ. When the other guy, the Brazil dude, went over there, he's supposed to be a top contender, a great prospect. But when they go over there and they get beat, then we put them down.
Yeah.
Listen, we got to put these people down before they make it over there and make it look bad. So, I mean, have your favorite fighter, root for you want to root, but there is a point that you got to draw that line, baby. And what's real is real. That's it. Do ain't cutting it, don't send them. And if the mafia send them, don't support it. Sadly as it is, but baby, boxing it's looking really bad. Even with all these fights that we're watching, it's not the same. Now people talk on the internet, opinions being exchanged, and people getting to the conclusion that we get in play. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what's going to take you? You're going to say, you tell Robbie, oh, you cannot block Junior Chavez for making a living. Yeah, but I can express my opinion with my dollar and not support him.
That's it. That's it, because the next time he fights, he's going to want pay-per-view.
Guys.
Appreciate it, man.
I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you got some other people on the line. Great show like always, and people support.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for calling, Georgie.
All right, Georgie.
Good call. Good call from Georgie. And I would be
Eric,
remiss.
You made a good point.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Would be remiss if I didn't play that when Georgie called.
You made a good point, Eric. Considering what we watched yesterday, you think Dylan White could beat Joseph Parker?
Maybe.
I don't know. Man. That's a tough fight. But maybe. But again, Joseph Parker, I don't know. Has he earned that title shot? Has Dylan White earned that title shot? I don't know,
No, but I'm trying to match make here.
Yeah, I think that's a good fight. I don't hate that fight. That's for sure. Hey, how about I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Why don't he come to the States? Why don't Dylan White come to the States and fight Andy Ruiz? Why don't we get that going? I think that's a good fight.
I have a better one. I got a better idea. Deontay Wilder said he's negotiating with people to fight in February.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you negotiate with Dylan White and don't put your title on the line?
I don't hate that either.
If you want to get a tune-up, fight him for 10 rounds. Don't put your title up and get your tune-up in.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a bunch of, like I said, man, he can come here and he can fight anybody, but I just want to see him out a lot. Like I said, man, the guys in the UK that go on these runs and everybody thinks they're the next coming. When they come here, it's just like us going there. They get camera shy too, when they go up in front of that big crowd, and it's like, yeah, that's a big deal too. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens, man. Let's run down the rest of this card for the weekend here. Luis Concepcion versus Khalid Yafai. Khalid Yafai, I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about him, man. He definitely delivered. He scored a 12-round unanimous decision over Luis Concepcion. Luis Concepcion lost the title. He was a champion. He actually lost his title, the WBA World Super Flyweight title on the scale, as he came in overweight. Final scores here were 120-108, 120-108, and 117-110. So Khalid Yafai looked pretty good. Beeb, did you catch this fight?
I missed this one, actually. I should have watched it, though. I'm going to watch it later. I was just so jammed up with all these fights.
Yeah, there was a ton. My God, there was a ton. Thank you. A big shout out to Davey Boy Essex for keeping us in the loop on this thing, man, because that card was amazing. They had tons of fights on that card. They show up from top to bottom there, and that was great. Just a perfect card over there, man. Scott Quigg versus Jose Cayetano. I'm not sure if you saw this one or not, but Scott Quigg scored a 9th-round TKO over Jose Cayetano on the Joshua undercard. Quigg just completely outclassed Cayetano. And it was good to see Quigg get back into the win column, honestly. He ended it with a left shot to the body. Cayetano crumbled, and the referee waved it off. Another one that they've been talking about for a long time, and we actually have an interview with Frank Buglioni. Frank Buglioni versus Hosea Burton. We have an interview with Frank Buglioni on the website that Neil Cogram did. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He's one of our writers. Frank Buglioni moved up to light heavyweight and scored a dramatic come-from-behind win in the 12th round. This was big, man. This was a big one because he was behind, and he came in and knocked the guy out in the 12th round. So he dropped Burton in rounds 11 and 12 to claim the domestic title. So there you go. That was a good one. Now, let's talk about this next one, man. Louis Ortiz versus David Allen. King Kong fighting again in just a couple of weeks, 28 days, it looks like. He beat the snot out of David Allen for 7 rounds before getting a referee stoppage on Saturday in the UK. Ortiz, he was in the lead all the way. Allen never went down. He was ready to put him down, but it was a second bout in 28 days, coming off a decision over Malik Scott. I don't know, man. I'm still not impressed. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he needs to do to impress me, but battering around David Allen, who was nine wins, 2 losses, and 6 knockouts. I mean, you know, clearly it was a tune-up fight, but you couldn't even get this guy, you know. I don't know. Every time I'm seeing Louis Ortiz lately, his stock has just fallen to me. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this? Just Louis Ortiz not being able to, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. After a while, when, you know, you're not getting the big fights and you're getting fights that really aren't significant, you gotta say to yourself as a fighter, I mean, how do you get up to these guys?
Yeah.
And I think that's where Luis Ortiz is right now, man. I just think he's just hard. He's trying to get that big fight. He's been trying to get that big fight for a long time. You know, we've seen him against, fighters like, what's his name there? The guy that
Brian Jennings.
Brian Jennings, correct.
Yeah.
I don't know, I drew a blank there. Brian Jennings, he was really mentally up for that fight. And Brian Jennings is a really, really good fighter. Took Klitschko 12 rounds. And, I thought he won 4 of the 12 rounds. I thought it was a competitive fight. I thought Klitschko clearly won that fight against Brian Jennings. But, you know, Luis Ortiz destroyed him. I think he destroyed him. You know, so he was up for that fight. But now I think, you know, because these big paydays and these big fights have eluded him, they slipped through his fingers. I just think that he's just in a state of complacency right now. And I don't think he's
I think one of his problems is he should not have left Golden Boy. He should have stayed with Golden Boy, and he'd be getting closer to big fights. He wouldn't be fighting guys like Malik Scott or David Allen, you know?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Eddie Hearn will line him up with Anthony Joshua at some point. We'll see what he can do because that I think that was the plan. That was the plan. So let's see if that plan comes into fruition. Let's just wait it out and see what happens because there's got to be some light at the end of this tunnel here for Luis Ortiz. But right now it doesn't look like there is. So that's what I think the problem is.
Also, too, moving ahead here, Erickson Lubin on the Charlo undercard. I told you we were going to jump around. Won by second round knockout. Whoever he was fighting, he got a second round knockout over him. So he continues his winning ways, and he's one we really got our eye on at Ringside Reporter. I mean, he's an up and comer, really, really good prospect, man. Katie Taylor faced Vivian Obanov. Katie Taylor picked up the second win of her career, getting a unanimous decision. I'm really impressed with her, man. She throws good, clean shots. She's got really good technique. She's got the makings of a star, man. If she's brought along right, and she's with Eddie Hearn, so it's probably going to tank for her. But, you know, in a perfect world, if she's brought along correctly, she'll be a big star.
Eric, I don't know if you noticed this, but Showtime had to waste so much time yesterday because they came on the air too early. They actually had to put the Katie Taylor fight on to fill time.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. Yeah,
yeah.
That's Showtime's mismanagement for you. And also, too, Ray Beltran versus Mason Menard. Robert actually reminded me about this fight. I remember seeing it. I saw it, and we just had so many fights, and I would go on, and he was like, hey, what about this one? I said, that's right. I forgot about it, Ray Beltran, man, scored a huge 7th round KO over Mason Menard and just sprawled him out. I mean, this was just wicked, man. On Saturday night in Omaha on the Terrence Crawford undercard. It was a monster left hook that sprawled out Menard at the 51-second mark in the 7th round. Beltran looked strong all night, man. He looked really, really solid. Boxed very well. Hard to believe, man. I mean, he looked so good. Beeb, what were your thoughts on Ray Beltran?
Beltran looked like he put it together in this fight. He looked sharp. I just thought he was a very accurate puncher. He's putting his shots together. They didn't waste many punches because, in the past, Beltran would try to corner guys in the ropes and he would just empty out the clip on them. He would unload on them and just try to throw, all caution into the wind, throw the kitchen sink at a guy and hope that 1 or 2 of the punches landed. In this fight, he picked and chose his shots well. He didn't waste a lot of shots, and this was just a real solid performance all around. I thought this was a real technical performance as well. Even though he walked through Menard, I still thought that he threw the right punches at the right time, put the shots together, and he looked really, really sharp. Really, really sharp. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this will get him a big payday. you know, it was unfortunate in that Ricky Burns fight where he got a draw. I thought he actually won that fight, and I thought it got taken away from him. Hopefully this is a fight now, you know, being on HBO in front of all those eyeballs, that maybe this will propel him into a big money fight, possibly a title fight in the near future, because I think he deserves it.
Yeah, he fought well, man. He fought really well. Very impressive. All right, 323-870-3857. Let's talk about the upcoming fights here. And then we got a big announcement on the Vinnie Paz interview, and we'll tell you about that here in a few. But December 16th, Robert, you're my savant. Is that a Friday, yes?
Yes, that's a Friday. And you're probably going to talk about HBO Latino. Your
favorite network. Come on. Hey, listen, man. Listen, you're going to have to embrace the Latino culture, all right? Me and you, now, we're gente. You know what I mean? We're family now, all right? HBO Latino, let me tell you why. Because we just had Andres Bermudez from BN Sports, your favorite station, the Latin station, the Mexican station. He was on here talking about JCC Jr. We got the interview out there. HBO Latino, December 16th. Vyacheslav Shabransky versus Sullivan Barrera, 10 rounds light heavyweights. This is going to be a good one, man. I like this fight. I like Sullivan Barrera a lot. But what do you think about this fight, Robert? Who do you like?
I actually think Shabransky is going to win this fight.
I think he might too. He might too, man.
Yeah. No, I
like Shabransky.
I think he might win this fight.
I think he's.
I just wish it was in English so I could watch it.
Oh, look at you hating. Look at you hating. He's already building the wall, Beeb. He's already building the wall. All right.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm not building the wall. No.
Please, Robbie. Let's all unite. Let's unite as one people.
That's right.
Please.
That's right. We get interviews with the Spanish sportscasters. They're coming to us, and then, we got Robert, Come on. Get with it. Get with the program. December 17th on HBO, regular HBO. Robbie can watch this one. Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Smith, 12 rounds, light heavyweights. Man, so this is supposed to be the last one. This is it for him. On paper, let me tell you what. On paper, this should equal a Hopkins win. But I tell you what, man, this ain't on paper. This is the real deal. Joe Smith has got a live shot here. I mean, Bernard Hopkins has been out of the ring for some time. He's 50-some years old. Man, I'm going to go out on the edge, man. I'm going to pick Joe Smith. I think Joe Smith is going to get him. Thoughts? That's it.
You know what? I totally agree with you, Eric.
Oh.
Bernard Hopkins is 50.
There it is.
Bernard Hopkins is 51 years old. He's been out of the ring. The last time he was in the ring was when he fought Kovalev, and what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
No, I don't see the executioner executing Joe Smith. I see Joe Smith putting another big name on his resume. I think Joe Smith wins a unanimous decision.
This is a tough one because I don't really know too much about Joe Smith outside of that Bonfora fight. So was that just his day in the sun? Because wouldn't I have heard about him earlier if there was something to know about this guy outside of that Bonfora fight? So this guy came out of nowhere. So was that basically his day in the sun? Was that the day that the sunshine shined on him that one time? I don't know. But as both you guys said, Bernard Hopkins has been out of the ring for a long time. He'll be 51 years old in January. And in about a month and a half, he's going to be 51 years old. So at some point in time, he's got to hit the wall. He's got to hit the wall. Could this be that time? Could this be the opponent to make him hit that wall? I don't know.
Sometimes you just
roll with the B-Hop, man, because I'm gonna go with the guy I know as opposed to the guy I don't know, because I've only seen Joe Smith fight one time, and that was against Bonfora, and he was a heavy underdog, and he found lightning in a bottle that night. But can he find lightning in a bottle 2 nights? I don't know. That's a tall task. That's a big ask. So I'm still gonna roll with the old veteran. There's a reason why they picked Joe Smith for the last fight. And I think they know what they're doing here, so I'm going to roll Hopkins.
I tell you, sometimes you walk in that ring, sometimes you get in there and you just ain't got it. You know, you just don't have it, man. And at 51 years old, man, Joe Smith's a young guy. He's hungry. He just came off a big win. Man, I tell you what, it's I don't think this is an easy fight for Hopkins, man. I gotta roll with Joe Smith on this one, man. What were you gonna say, Robert?
And I've got to ask you both a question. Do we honestly believe that this is the last time we see the executioner in the ring?
Yeah.
Because so many times he said, "Oh, I retire," and I don't know how many comebacks he's made, but because even Jim Lampley, when he's reading the promo, he always says, "Well, is this the last time?" I honestly don't know. I mean, it's like Roy Jones. Some of these guys get so addicted to what they do, they don't know how to do anything else. I mean, and to Bernard Hopkins' credit, he does have ownership stake in Golden Boy Promotions, so he really doesn't need to do this anymore. I hope it's the last time, but I think he's going to go out a loser.
Yeah, I don't think he fights again after this. I really don't. Yeah, I agree with Georgie in the chat. Just said he hopes B-Hop goes out with a win. I hope he does too, man. I mean, I hope he does, man. But that's some long odds, man. Even when it gets a guy like Joe Smith, who we don't know, you don't know much about him. You know what I mean? It's a pretty tall order, man. On that undercard, you have Alexander.
But we haven't heard anything.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we haven't heard anything from Fonfora since he lost, so that ought to tell you something.
Yeah, there you go. Alexander Usyk versus Tabiosa Minchudu. 12 rounds for Usyk's WBO cruiserweight title. This is going to be didn't Minchudu, isn't that the guy? No, I think I've got it mixed up. I thought, who was the guy that fought Parker and gave him all kinds of problems? Do you remember who I'm talking about, Beeb? He was a heavyweight, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same dude, right?
I think his last name was say his name one time.
Machunu? This is the guy who's fighting Usyk.
I'm not sure if it was him. I'm gonna look that up though. I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure if that's the guy.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the guy, but let me just.
I don't think so either, man. But he's fighting Usyk, and Usyk, this is going to be his coming out party on HBO. They're going to try to push him as the next big guy. They're going to try to push him, and I think he's part of that K2 Promotions, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what Loeffler and all those guys over there. So I believe. Don't quote me on it until you see Loeffler.
Oh, you're thinking it's Carlos Takam. You're thinking of Carlos.
I'm an absolute idiot. I'm an absolute idiot because I see a name that I don't recognize him. This must be that dude. So my thoughts on that.
That's all right.
All right, and on Robert's new favorite station on Saturday, on BN Sports in Espanol. Yeah, his new favorite station. You heard me right. Ramon Alvarez versus the dreaded TBA junior middleweights, 10 rounds. And that's going to be from Texas. Las Vegas on CBSSports.net, Oscar Cantu versus Aston Palicite, 10 rounds, junior bantamweights. And yeah, I know I just butchered his name. Also, too, from Russia, Alexander Povetkin versus Berman Stiverne, 12 rounds for the vacant WBC interim heavyweight title. Look, man, I don't know how anybody with any kind of sense can go against Alexander Povetkin. I'm going to tell you why. Not because he's that great, not because anything else. Rubinsky's his promoter. He's got deep pockets. They're going in Russia. He failed a drug test. He's still fighting. He failed a drug test. Think about that for a second. He failed his drug test. He's still fighting. All right. He can't lose unless Stiverne knocks him out, which is possible. But unless Stiverne knocks him out, goes to the card, man, it's all Povetkin. This fight's over with. Robert, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. And let's face it, Berman Stiverne has not looked good since he lost to Wilder. I think Povetkin wins, and whether Deontay Wilder likes it or not, he's still going to be stuck fighting Alexander Povetkin. If Deontay Wilder wants to keep his title, he's eventually going to have to deal with this dude. And I know he has every right to be upset about what happened, but he's going to have to put that aside And in order to keep his title, he's going to have to eventually fight this guy. And if he's got to go to Russia, he's going to have to go to Russia. You know.
Well, he was willing. I mean, he was willing. He went to Russia. He went there. And then Povetkin, you know, got popped for PEDs and every other thing illegal in the system. And, you know,
no, whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to deal with him, because I don't see any way that Bermane Stiverne wins this fight, especially over there.
No.
Beeb?
Yeah, I like Povetkin big in this fight. I've never been high on Bermane Stiverne, so yeah, I don't see him winning this fight. I think Povetkin knocks him out.
What's the odds that either one of these guys fail a drug test afterwards?
Oh, I know. Deep is crazy.
Got to be high, right?
Well, I don't think Povetkin at this point, he's going to be on his P's and Q's this time. I mean, after all that controversy.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
We'll see, though. Who knows in this sport?
Yeah, right. Who knows with the WBC? You know? Who knows with the WBC, man? That's for sure.
Exactly. Exactly.
At Saint Denis, France, and I hope I pronounced that right, Saint Denis. In France, Alfonso Blanco versus Hassan Ndam, former Olympian Hassan Ndam, who got pasted in the Olympics. 12 rounds for Blanco's WBA interim middleweight title, whatever that means. The WBA's interim title.
Okay.
Yuriokis Gamboa on that undercard versus Frank Del Alba, 10 rounds lightweight. So there's your Gamboa sighting for anybody who was missing him. And that's the action. That's the action for the next week. Some good stuff. Definitely some good stuff here.
Yeah.
So let's see here. All right. So let me talk about this, man. All right. So we got some interviews coming down the pike. The first one you heard me mention, Andres Bermudez for beIN Sports. I know the Chavez fight's already happened, but go to Ringside Reporter. You know, go to our iTunes list, subscribe, and then get the interview, or go to our website. You can get it there, or go to Beating the Odds with Beeb. You can get all these websites everywhere, or all the interviews everywhere. We're gonna have them on YouTube. We have them on ringsidereporter.com, and we also have them if you, like I said, subscribe to us. You get the downloads. But Andres Bermudez talks about a lot of different things aside from the Chavez fight. He talks about the Kirkland fight, the Cotto Kirkland fight in Texas. He talks about just a bunch of other fights, man, and he breaks them down and stuff like that and what he thinks. So it's a pretty good interview. It's in Spanish and it's being translated. So you get to hear the English version as well. So don't worry about it. If you don't speak Spanish like Robert, it's okay. The other one, on Tuesday, we're going to release Monday or Tuesday, we're going to release the Bobby Gunn interview. Bobby Gunn, if you don't know, is the bare knuckle champion of the world. All right. And what's so significant about this is there's only been 3 of them. And John L. Sullivan is one of them to hold that belt. Bobby Gunn is one of the others. All right. So there's only been 3 people in history to hold the belt. Bobby Gunn is one of them, which makes him a living legend already. Not only that, Bobby Gunn in February is going to fight Roy Jones Jr. Now, a lot of people have been dumping all over this fight when it's made. My guess is that, you know, they don't know who Bobby Gunn is because they think he's just a bare knuckle brawler, you know, or a bare knuckle boxer. The thing is, Bobby Gunn was a pretty good cruiserweight back in his day, and he's fought James Toney. He's fought James Toney. He's fought Enzo Maccarinelli. Now he's going to fight Roy Jones. He's fought a lot of heavy hitters, man, a lot of heavy hitters in his time. So I wouldn't sleep on this, man, and make sure you tune in for it. It's a great interview. And the big one that's going to be released right after the show tonight. So when you go to YouTube, you'll be able to see it there. We're going to go ahead and release it tonight with the podcast, is the Vinnie Paz interview. And that one is amazing. It's such an amazing interview. It's 30 minutes he gives us about 30 minutes of his time. It's a 30-minute interview. Let me tell you how we do interviews here. I don't like the 5-minute interview. You see a lot of guys go in and ask somebody a question, you know, and they're in a hallway and it's about it's about 2 minutes, 3 minutes or whatever. To me, he's telling you something you already know. You know, they're not going to reveal anything of substance there in 2 minutes. So what we like to do is we like to get to know people. So at least 15, 20 minutes. In Paz's case, he gave us 30 minutes. And we like to get to know him. We like to ask him different questions. We like to, you know, for you to get to know him, at least have a good interview so you guys can listen to him, because nobody really learns anything from a 2-minute interview. or, you know, how was fight camp? Nobody cares. You know, nobody cares. They're going to give you all programmed answers anyway. So we try to ask a little bit different questions, try to keep them there for a little bit longer. And that way, when you guys tune in, it's kind of worth your time, you know. But the Paz interview is unbelievable. He talks about the movie. He talks about breaking his neck. He talks about what really happened when he broke his neck in that car crash. He talks about the way it went down. He talks about his fights. He talks about his fights with Roy Jones Jr., Dana Rosenblatt, the bad blood between those two. He talks about Kevin Rooney. He also talks about the actors who played him on screen and all the actors that were in the movie and everything like that. Just an amazing, amazing guy, amazing interview. And let me tell you how cool Vinnie Paz is. Vinnie Paz is so cool that we were sitting there. It was a Friday. It was Friday night. My wife and I were, you know, I'm on the computer. My wife's reading her book. The phone rings at 10 o'clock at night, and I don't recognize the area code. I go ahead and answer it. It's Vinnie Paz. And we talk for about a half hour. And he goes, you know, we were talking about the movie. We're talking about all, you know, different things and everything like that. We then set up another interview for the following day where we can actually record it. And so he gave me another 30 minutes of his time. So he gave us about an hour of his time. 30 minutes of it, of course, you know, was just me and him talking, and the other 30 minutes, of course, you guys got. But what a great guy. And I mean, he's been going on all different kinds of shows. He's been on, I've seen him on Jim Rome. He's been on The Extra with Mario Lopez. I think he's been on some of the late shows. Just an incredible, incredible guy. And for him to take his time out and give us some time, especially that much time, I thought was just amazing. So once again, you'll be able to see that interview right after this show. I mean, probably within the hour. Beeb will have that thing posted. And I'll have it ready tonight via download, and you can download it. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Again, Bobby Gunn coming the time afterwards. And we got some other stuff that we're trying to run down too to try to get them out there and get you guys some interviews so you can hear from different people around the boxing world, man. So there you go.
That Vinnie Paz interview was incredible. It's awesome.
Yeah. What did you think of that, Beeb?
Awesome interview. You guys are getting. Oh, I loved it, man. You guys are really, really gonna like it, man. Vinnie Paz is like he's just like a regular guy. He's a guy that when you go to a bar or whatever, go out somewhere, a club, someone's house party or something. He's like a regular guy you'd meet and just shoot the shit with him. Mm-hmm. He's not like one of those elite type athletes. You know what I'm saying? He's a down to earth guy that anybody can relate to. You know, he's like a blue collar type fighter. He's a blue collar type person. That's the type of guy he is, and I think you guys are really, really going to like the interview, man. I actually know Dana Rosenblatt. I used to go to the same gym he went to, and it's just funny how he talks about Dana because for whatever reason, him and Dana just did not get along. You know, Dana had a way, if he didn't like you, you know, you'd know about it, and he didn't like Vinny, and Vinny didn't like him. So it was funny hearing Vinny talk about Dana Rosenblatt.
That was a funny story.
I know Dana, and yeah, I know Dana, and I've always been cool with Dana. But if you're Dana's enemy, man, he just doesn't give you the time of day, man. He gives Vinny the time of day because he didn't like him, and Vinny was like, you know, I'm doing you a favor, kid. I'm giving you your first big payday, and Dana didn't care, man. He just didn't like him. He didn't like him,
man,
and he let Vinny know about it.
That's awesome, man. And you know, he hit the nail right on the head when you said he's like a down to earth guy, because the way I was talking to him when we were off air and the way he sounds in the interview is exactly the way he is. There's no change. There's no like turn on. You know what I mean? It's not like he flips a switch and he's camera ready. Funny, he's the way he is. And I mean, he's just a down to earth guy, man. It's just unreal.
He is.
This super nice guy, man. All right, let's go ahead and go to the phones here. 347, you are live.
Hey guys, how are you? It's Monster Peace.
Hey Monster Peace, how are you?
What's going on?
I'm good. Just had a great weekend of fights, but I know you guys already touched on some of the subjects already, but I felt great. I loved I didn't love a lot of the fights. Some of the fights were a little disappointing. Other fights were surprising with the outcome. And I want to touch first on my favorite fight of the night, and that was the Cuellar versus Abner Mares.
How about that one, man?
I saw that fight.
How about that fight? That was great.
Oh my God, that was such a great fight. It was really probably my favorite fight of the night. And I actually picked Cuellar to win because the circumstances in which Mares was going to be under. And I kind of felt like that's probably a reason why he would have lost. But man, he proved us all wrong. And he just showed people, you know, how unpredictable fighting can be. And also how important it is to fight smart. Because the Mares in there, in my opinion, was not the same Mares that was there with Leo Santa Cruz. And this Mares was really smart. He looked great with Robert Garcia. And he was just really fighting very, very, he was outboxing Cuellar. He was fighting very smart. And I loved the way he looked. I was so impressed. Even though I picked Cuellar, at the end of the fight, I was so happy he won. I don't know what that split decision was all about. I think he should have won unanimously.
Yeah, I don't know what Herman Bayless was thinking of. 115 to 112 for Cuellar. Are you serious?
Jeez, it was it was ridiculous. I was actually like, what the fuck was that all about? But anyways, he won. Let's just be happy with that. He got the belt. He's a four-time champion right now, and I'm so proud of him. I want to see him again. I don't know who against, but I would like to see him against the winner of Frampton versus Leo Santa Cruz. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that's the way Showtime is trying to set it up, actually. That's the way it looks.
I like that fight.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Let's hop on our private jet and let's go to the UK with our friend here, Beeb, and let's talk about a fight.
Don't get too excited. Nobody knows him in the UK, all right?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's have Beeb as our tour guide because UK also had a lot of great fights. And my favorite fight of the night from UK was White and Chisora. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but that was a really good fight. I was surprised by Chisora because he is an older fighter. But he really fought really well. I also felt kind of like a lot of people were talking about fatigue, but I kind of saw both of them kind of fatigued towards the later rounds. But nonetheless, it was a great fight. It was really entertaining. I had it a draw the first time I scored it, so I may have to see it a second time or third time to see why it was given to White. But I had it a draw. What did you guys think about that fight?
That was an awesome fight.
I thought it was a good fight too.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. Very close. Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can argue either way on it. Whatever way you had it. I don't think you can really argue because you can make cases for everything. I mean, you really could. I mean, it was that close of a fight. I'm curious to see if they have that fight again, given Chisora's antics leading up to the fight and everything like that. I'll be real curious to see if they have that fight again because it was that close.
It really was, and the leading up to the fight was also entertaining. Chisora throwing that table.
Who does that? Who throws a table at somebody?
I know. It's so UK of them.
Yeah, right. That's not gentlemanly.
No,
who does that?
No, but I thought it was funny how much of so much chaos that was happening leading up to this fight and how much those guys were throwing at each other but how respectful it was towards the end. I mean, granted, Chisora did not want to hug White, but eventually he did. And unlike Charlo, who didn't want to, acknowledge. Yeah, unlike Charlo, who just was adamant and didn't want to acknowledge J-Rock at all. After the fight, but I thought Chisora, eventually buried the hatchet and gave him a hug. I would like to see a rematch. I thought those guys really put on a great show, but I think in the rematch, White would win again, in my opinion.
I was more impressed with Chisora in that fight because I thought White was going to win the fight easily, and Chisora really did well. I thought Chisora was done. But he didn't look done in that fight at all. He looked good. Yeah,
he did. I thought, we thought the same thing about, last night was just a great night of so many surprises because we felt the same way about Mares, and he pulled that kind of amazing fight. And you know, and Chisora did the same thing. He came back and just fought so well against White. And you would think that his emotions or how he felt about him would kind of get in the way of that, but it didn't. He just fought very well. I really enjoyed it. The Eric Molina versus Joshua fight, man, I was disappointed. I really liked Eric Molina. I picked Joshua actually to fight because I just expected a younger guy who's, you know, more confident and more of a push to be the winner. And, you know, obviously I was right. But Eric Molina, I was not expecting him for him to just like, it kind of looked like he gave up.
He just laid down.
It really kind of looked like he gave up from the first round.
He didn't even show up for that fight.
He didn't even start. He gave up before the bell rang.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was the pressure of him being in another country. I don't know if it was the fact that AJ just looked so big and he was so, you know, he was imposing his size on him or his strength. Who knows what really happened?
You remember when you were a little kid and it was like your first day of kindergarten and you were like scared, you didn't want to go in, and you grabbed your mother's leg and you wouldn't want to leave her side? Like you had that fear in you? That's what he reminded me.
That's what he looked like. That's what he looked like.
That kid that didn't want to go into the kindergarten class. That's what he looked like.
Exactly what he looked like.
He looked exactly like, it was so funny because he looked exactly like that. And I was just like, whoa, like what happened, Molina? Like deep down inside, even though I picked Joshua, and guys, let me be honest with you, I don't trust Joshua. I'm not 100% sold on him. But I did pick him because I kind of figured, you know, Molina is a good fighter. He does good things in there, but he's not everlasting in those good things. Like he doesn't, you know, he's the kind of fighter that he would do like one good thing and then the rest of the fight, he just fucks up. And then the other guy wins. But I was expecting the fight to be a good one, just like he gave us, you know, just like the fight he gave us with Wilder. But it wasn't the case. So I don't know, man. Joshua, whatever. I'm still not sold on him, but I'm still keeping my hopes. I'm still keeping an open mind on the guy. He is young and he is strong and he is big. So I can't wait to see him against Klitschko. That's going to be an interesting fight. I'm going to definitely watch that one.
See, I don't even know if that's. I think that's more of a thing of better matchmaking, good matchmaking, than it is a competitive fight. I mean, everybody thinks Klitschko is this monster. It's not the same Klitschko, man. It's not the same. You saw him against Jennings and you saw him against Tyson Fury. You tell me that's the same Klitschko that was putting guys away. It's not the same guy. Anthony Joshua is going to walk this guy. He's going to walk him within 6 rounds.
What if we put it back together for one night? What if we put it back together for one night?
You imagine? That would be great.
If Joshua,
then it would give Joshua a really good fight.
Let me tell you what, if Joshua trips and breaks his leg on the way to the ring, I think Klitschko's got a chance. Short of that, he ain't coming out of that fight. So.
I agree. I'm definitely picking Joshua for that fight. Absolutely. Another thing, also the Charlo and J-Rock fight. I thought it was really good as well. J-Rock, what did you guys thought about the way he was fighting after that knockdown? Shouldn't he have moved a little bit more instead of staying right in front of Charlo and try to engage with him?
You know
Shouldn't
what?
he have learned from that?
But you know what happened? He found a home for that right hand.
Yep.
And he thought he was going to be able to land it all night. And he was able to land it quite a bit. But, and like I mentioned earlier, and credit to Demetrius Andrade, because he brought this up in an interview after the fight, because he's been interviewed, you know, in the hall after the fight. And he said the big difference was what Charlo was doing was he was pulling away from the right hand, and it wasn't really landing flush. So Julian Williams was basically reaching with it and not landing it flush. Even though he was making contact, he wasn't doing significant damage. So that was the problem. But he thought maybe he was going to end up tagging him and hurting him, but he just could not connect it flush as hard as he could have. And that was the problem. I just thought he got in his head that, you know what, I'm touching this guy, and I can touch him when I want to touch him. Sooner or later, I'm going to hurt him. But he never hurt him. And while he was trying to, you know, wait for that moment where he could hurt him, he was the one that got hurt in the process. So that's what it was. He had that false sense of security, that false sense of confidence that, you know what, I'm going to tag him with this right hand and I'm going to stop him in his tracks and I'm going to get him out of there. Never happened.
Never happened. Absolutely, absolutely. I really wish he would have. It would have been a different outcome. But I'm not taking anything away from Charlo. He did a good job. He did what he needed to do to win, and he got the knockout at the end. Didn't like his attitude at the end of the fight. I mean, I get it, but that's the business, right? Don't you have to hype up a fight? Doesn't there have to be a lot of trash talking? A lot of chasing, a lot of talking, a lot of crap in order to build a fight. At the end of the fight, you hug it out and you know that this is business. It's nothing personal. And I think Charlo, his immaturity just shined through last night. And it was kind of like, dude, you're world champion. Behave like one, you know?
He's a baby.
And it really kind of left me with oh God, disappointed at him. But whatever. Do you guys think that Charlo's too big for that division? I actually think he is. And that's probably why he was so successful last night.
I don't know, man. He looked good, and I tell you what.
Huge.
Yeah, I had J-Rock winning that fight. I thought J-Rock was going to win the fight. Interestingly enough, it was 38-37 on all three cards when the fight got stopped. So it was fairly close. It wasn't like but it only won a few rounds. But I want to see him fight Andrade. I mean, let's get that fight together because he does look big. And Erickson Lubin is peeking around there too at 154 too. He's no joke either. I would love to see him. I would love to see him move up. I think if he moves up, I'd like to see him fight Eubank Jr. I think that's a good test for him. I think Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux, any one of those guys would be good test for him because those are big guys, man. But he's a big guy,
Yeah. He is a big guy. And I feel like no one gives a fuck about his brother. He holds a WBC belt.
Right.
It's like everybody's chasing Jamal. And I'm like, Jamal's still there with a belt. And he's probably way smaller than his brother. But everybody's going after Jamal. And I think Jamal is just a really big guy. And I don't know. He did look good last night. You know that I picked J-Rock because of the way Charlo looked against Trout. You guys remember that fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, man.
Yeah, I picked J-Rock because of the way Charlo looked in that fight. But then again, it's experience at the end of the day. I just think Trout is just more experienced than J-Rock, has been there with the likes of Cotto. So I think it's just, it's probably just experience. That's the reason why he was able to go 12 rounds with Charlo. But no, man, great fight last night. Really good fight. I'm not gonna touch on Crawford and Molina because let's be honest, we all kind of knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, he could have came. He could have came in the best shape of his life, man, and still lost that fight. That he wasn't going anywhere in that fight.
There's no way. The skill gap was just too great.
The best part about the whole thing was that Crawford is campaigning for Fighter of the Year of Hank Lundy and Molina. Come on, man. Seriously?
No.
I mean, he had Victor Postal in there too, which I give it to him. That was a good fight, good win, top opponent, top level opponent. But Hank Lundy and then John Molina, man, come on, no way.
Yeah. I agree. I wouldn't do Fighter of the Year. He already won Fighter of the Year. I don't know what year that was, but he's already a Fighter of the Year and before. So I don't know. Crawford needs to move up to 147. There's nobody there for him at 140. I'm very adamant about that. I am very, a lot of people say, oh, why he should move up and not Triple G. But I'm like, I have a different feeling about Triple G. I'm not really thinking of
90 seconds.
My focus is Crawford. I think really Crawford should move up to 147 eventually.
He's big enough.
But there's no fight for him at 140.
Nothing. There's nothing at 140 for him. Nothing.
There really isn't. People say Broner. People say Felix Diaz. I'm like, Felix Diaz, he's like a Gamboa. He's really like a Gamboa. Why would you fight Felix Diaz? We all knew what happened with Gamboa. He just fight those kind of guys.
60 seconds.
Yeah.
Then if he wins against Felix, and a lot of people would say he's still fighting the small guys. He needs to move up to 147.
There's nobody
it is
there
time
for
him to move.
We
went over this earlier. There's nobody.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'd like to see him fight. Look, man. I mean, I was really high on Troyanovsky prior to last week, and then he got knocked out in like 30 seconds. But the guy who knocked him out, Julius Ndongo, hey, why not put him in there with Crawford? I mean, he collects a belt. He collects the IBF belt. Then he's WBC, IBF, and WBO. But Ndongo's a big, rangy guy. He's, he looks like he can give you problems for the 30 seconds that I saw him. So, hey, why not? Why not? But short of that, I mean.
Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, short of that, you got Ramses Bartholomew there. You have
seconds.
Amir Aman, and that's Cletus Seldon's in there too. And those are big names. I mean, those are the big ones he's got. So not a whole lot of people in that 140 division.
Not a whole lot, and I feel like he would beat all of them, honestly.
Yeah, I do too.
Honestly, I'm gonna check out that guy you just mentioned right now. What's his name again? I don't know much about him.
Julius Ndongo.
Yeah, Julius Ndongo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look up that guy and see. But I still doubt it.
Yeah. Go watch that Troyanovsky fight. Yeah. That'll take about. You can watch it in between. You can make a commercial out of that fight. It was 30 seconds. Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah. Oh my God, guys! It was such a great night of fighting. I'm gonna leave you guys. But thanks again for taking my call. Thanks again for chatting with me. I love calling you guys whenever I get a chance because it feels just so good to be able to talk boxing with you guys. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for calling, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Good night, guys.
Good night, man. Good call, Masterpiece. Good call, as usual. As usual. All right. It's that time. News and rumors. The 2017 Hall of Fame class. 3 former boxing legends headline the 9 inductees for the class of 2017. Evander Holyfield, the real deal. Marco Antonio Barrera, and the late Mi Vida Loca, Johnny Tapia are the 3 former boxers that earned the honor, all first ballot Hall of Famers. In the non-participant category, Johnny Lewis, Judge Jerry Roth, and late ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Sr. will be inducted. Longtime Showtime broadcaster Steve Farhood, good for him, and Barry Tompkins, long overdue, will be abducted. They will be abducted. They will be inducted in the observers category, and the late Eddie Booker has been selected in the old-timer category. There you are. Any problems with that, Beeb?
No.
No, not at all. Someone questioned whether or not Johnny Tapia should be in there.
Oh, get out of here. Johnny Tapia's first ballot, son.
Someone messaged me on Facebook about that. I don't think Johnny Tapia should be in there. I was like, are you really? Wow.
Yeah.
What was their excuse?
They just didn't think his resume was strong enough. And I don't know.
Get out of here. Multiple-time world champ. Come on, man.
Oh, my God.
No, Johnny Tapia, for real, baby. He's at the top. To me, he's at the top of that list. He's at the top of that list, man. That guy was a fighter.
Yeah, no, I got no problem with any of those. None,
not to mention whatsoever. The story, his story that Johnny Tapia brought to the table, just unbelievable. We did a history lesson on him and Danny Romero, the fight with him and Danny Romero.
We did.
And we went over in that history lesson, we went over Johnny Tapia's his life story, kind of, what led him to that point and got him there. And if you guys get a chance, man, go back and listen to that history lesson, man, because that was good. Because he, we described, what he went through to get there, and it was a lot, man. It was a lot. And for him to be that successful, for that, I mean, it was just, he definitely deserves that for sure. His resume is solid too, about as solid as it gets. All right, let's move forward here. Dana White has sounded off. Robert, the president of the UFC, has talked about Conor McGregor boxing. You know what he said? Let me tell you what he said. Quote it.
No way, Jose.
It ain't happening. White told Yahoo Sports there's no way McGregor's boxing. He says as far as the California license went, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He doesn't know what McGregor's doing. But Dana White has been pretty clear on the stance. It ain't happening. That's a direct quote from the boss, Uncle Dana. You see him on my Twitter. Me and Dana, my Uncle Dana says, hey, it ain't happening. Leonard Ellerby, Floyd's promoter, also chimed in, or Floyd's manager also chimed in on the situation with McGregor. Ellerby stated, the bottom line is that Conor McGregor is under contract with the UFC. There's nothing he can do on his own without the approval of Dana White and the brass over at WME, IMG. Those are the new UFC owners. So there you go, man. There you go. There ain't nothing, that ain't happening anytime soon. Unless he gives the go-ahead, which doesn't look good, man. Shakur Stevenson, former Olympian, going to turn pro soon. He's also chosen a manager. He will be managed now by Jay Prince, Josh Dubin, and Andre Ward, which means most likely his promoter will be Rock Nation. Beeb, is this a good move, Rock Nation, for Shakur Stevenson?
Is
Rock Nation a good move for anybody?
Rock Nation. I just think the inexperience of them in big time boxing. I love Andre Ward. I think he's an awesome fighter. I'm still scratching my head with that decision to go with them. I don't know.
No, I'll say it is a horrible choice.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great move.
No, I don't think so either, man. I don't. You know what? I don't know. You think about it for a minute, all right? You think about it for a second, man. Look at Cotto's deal with Rock Nation. Who made out like a bandit on that one, man? Look at Cotto. Look at Cotto on that decision, man. That's I don't know.
Yeah, February 25th, we really get to look at Cotto. Not.
Ooh. Man, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. Look at you. Cotto Kirkland set for February 25. Puerto Rico's Miguel Cotto will be facing James Kirkland in a junior middleweight fight on February 25th. And it will be a 12-round bout to headline HBO pay-per-view being put on by Rock Nation and Cotto Promotions. It'll take place at the Ford Center, the Star, the new training facility of the Dallas Cowboys in Frisco, Texas. Before you get crazy, it's a 12,000-seat arena. It's not like the actual stadium or whatever, like Canelo sells out. It's just a regular stadium, 12,000 or just regular 12,000-seat arena. Nothing too crazy. So
if anybody buys tickets, they need their head examined. This is not worth it.
It's bad, right? Beeb, what are your thoughts? You gonna buy it? You gonna buy it? You know you're gonna buy it.
And you say Cody?
You know what? Let me tell you how bad this fight is. I might not even watch it on Cody if it's going to be available on there. I might not even watch it on there. I might just have something to do that night. I don't know, man. I may not even watch it on Cody.
I'll wait for Davey Boy Essex to send it to me.
Yeah, right.
Let's put it this way. I'm not going to support a 401k fight. Okay.
Yeah, that's a bad fight, man. Yeah. Also, what was it? Andres Bermudez on our BN Sports interview. He talked about that fight too and what he thought of it, and they're pretty much along the same lines as we are. So there you go. Some tragic news, man. Alejandro Gonzalez Jr. was found dead this weekend. It was reported that he was found in a Jeep by his home in Guadalajara with two other people. One of the people is being reported to be his grandfather. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but so him and his grandfather, it sounds like got off. I don't know what happened, man. Clearly, something was going on there. I don't know if they, sounds like murder, but hey, who am I? I don't know. But Alejandro Gonzalez Jr., his father, Alejandro Gobrita Gonzalez, was a pretty good fighter back in his day. And Gonzalez Jr., if you remember, he fought Carl Frampton on his debut here in the States and knocked him down twice. Yeah, it was twice, wasn't it, Beeb?
That's right, in the first round.
Yeah, made a very good account of himself. Made a very good account of himself. Yeah, very sad to hear that, man. I hate that. Hearing that. Every week it seems like we got something like that. It seems like every week in 2016 we've got that. Yeah, so, but the good news is there's only a couple more weeks left in 2016, so there it is.
Yep.
Train wreck of the week. Beeb. Adrian Broner ordered to pay for a sex tape. A Nevada court just ordered the boxer to fork over $175,000 plus other fees to one of his co-stars. I use that term loosely, from a 2013 romp after the footage mysteriously surfaced on World Star Hip Hop from his phone. Broner had argued that he didn't intentionally leak the video, which was shot with the consent of two of his partners, but he had lost the phone and he shot it on someone and someone else posted it. So why didn't Broner have a password on his phone? The boxer testified that he has 3 phones with him at all times. Please pay attention here. The boxer has 3 phones with him at all times. A business phone, a family phone, and a hoe phone. This is his words, not mine. He actually called it a hoe phone in court, son. You are in court, and you called it a hoe phone. What's the matter with you? What is the matter with you, my man?
Isn't he engaged to be married too?
Probably not now.
He's supposed to be, but I doubt.
Probably not now.
Not anymore.
Broner says he simply never bothered to password protect.
Guy.
He never bothered to protect the whole phone, so anyone could have accessed it in his X-rated library. The jury bought Broner's story and found that he did not act intentionally, just negligently. Ordered him to fork over $40,000 in lost wages and $135,000 for pain and suffering. The plaintiff's attorney, Kevin Hansen, tells TMZ Sports, "I'm happy to see that the jury saw through the defendant's games. They saw my client for who she is and who Broner is." How about that? So, moral of the story, protect your whole phone.
Look, guys, you've got to ask a serious question here. We were talking earlier about Adrian Broner possibly being an opponent for Terrence Crawford, but he's always in the news for the wrong reasons. Does he seriously deserve to get any time at all on TV? I mean, he can't stay out of trouble.
Yeah, he does.
Just as long as he doesn't bring the whole phone to the press conferences for the fight.
I just don't get it. You know,
somebody
you can't keep awarding a guy for being an idiot. You know.
Somebody in the chat just said Broner's got more kids than belts.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of bad decisions, man, Oscar De La Hoya is getting a divorce. Oscar De La Hoya has proclaimed himself single, which apparently means his longtime marriage to pop singer Millie Coheter is down for the count. Yeah, Millie's a huge star. She's a huge Puerto Rican star. They know all the Spanish stations. Everybody knows who she is. She's a huge star on those stations and everything like that. Oscar made the announcement while partying at the One Oak nightclub on the Sunset Strip this weekend, saying, "Guess what? I'm single." Oscar and Millie married in 2001. They have 2 children together. TMZ contacted Oscar's rep. We didn't contact Oscar's rep, Steph Friedman, for a comment, and he gave us the following statement: "Oscar's personal life is just that, personal." Seriously, dude. Seriously, you're down on TMZ making announcements like I'm single, and all of a sudden your personal life is shut up, man. Don't put yourself out there then, stupid.
Let me tell you something. Being a California resident, let me tell you how this works.
50-50.
If they and obviously from the date you just gave, they were married for more than 10 years. Guess what? California is a community property state. So which means his wife could have at least half of the promotion company, Golden Boy Promotions. So
it's going to now be
Oscar,
called.
You may be fighting your ex-wife for the rest of your life.
It's going to now be called
your business dealings.
Golden Girl. You know, now it's going to be called Golden Girl because she's going to own half of it, son.
She's going to own half of everything unless there's a very substantial prenup in place.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good luck with that, son. You know what? And she was just as popular. She was more popular than he was, I'm sure, coming into that marriage, because she was well known back then.
Yeah,
she was well known back then.
Yeah.
So I would. She was a pop singer. It's got to be more popular than. I mean, who's more popular, like Lady Gaga or like Felix Verdejo? You know what I mean? Who's more popular? Who's got more Twitter followers? There you go.
That's right. Well, she's got over 20 million, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's got quite a bit, man. She got more than I do. I'll tell you that. Speaking of Felix Verdejo.
No, Oscar's going to pay through the nose on this one. I know how California law works on these things, and boy, he's going to be sorry he did this.
Felix Verdejo is going to return. Felix Verdejo has announced that he will be returning to the ring on February 3rd. Verdejo has been on the shelf after injuries that occurred during a motorcycle accident in August. No opponent has been named yet. So, Robert, he was on the motorcycle. He crashed his motorcycle. Now he's coming back. What do you think of Felix Verdejo as a whole? You think he's got a big future? I mean, you think he's like the next guy in that division, or is he just a hype job HBO is pushing?
Eric, before he got hurt, I thought he was going to be the next guy. But now we have to see what kind of condition he's actually in, because he was seriously injured in that accident.
Yeah.
And so, after a traumatic event like that, we're going to have to wait and see what he's like He might need a few tune-up fights, just to see what he's got. And, the island of Puerto Rico was really behind this guy. And now they're kind of skeptical because he got hurt so badly and has been out of the ring for so long. So it'll be interesting to see what Felix shows up on February 3rd and who he fights against.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Don't forget, after the show, go to beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com to access Beeb's YouTube channel, and then we'll have the Vinnie Paz on there after the show, the Vinnie Paz interview after the show. You can also download it from the Ringside Reporter, the iTunes. Go to our site, click on iTunes, subscribe to our channel, man, and that way you can get all this content. It'll be available on YouTube today and probably download tonight. If it should be tonight, maybe tomorrow, but maybe tonight. So subscribe and you won't miss it. So there you go. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robert's Corner at 773-572-7781 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.